Okay, it's preparing. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you. I have to read the script. Let me put that up. Welcome everyone who's watching. There's probably not very many people, but anyway, welcome to the interview committee meeting on May 16th. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures, this meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No person in attendance by members of the public will be permitted. No in-person attendance. It's a strange sentence. The order allows the interview subcommittee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. All members of the interview subcommittee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. This meeting will not feature public comment. Each vote taken this evening will be conducted by roll call vote. Members, Julianne, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Julianne Hirsch.
Aye, I'm here.
And I, Kristen Wickstead, am here. So we are all set to go. So do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes?
Yes, you do. I move that we approve that the interview subcommittee approve the minutes of the May 2nd, 2023 meeting.
Second. So we'll approve it by roll call vote. Julianne?
Aye.
And I, Kristen, vote aye. So those are approved. Now we have our first interview for the Parks and Recreation Commission. We have one opening. I don't have a Diane, it doesn't look like I have host access. So if someone's in the waiting room, I can't bring them in.
Oh, okay. Let me make you co-host.
Okay, great.
All righty, and Gary's in the waiting room and he's the chair of the Parks and Rec. And
Okay.
it Paul's the applicant.
Yes. Okay, great.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hi, Gary.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Haven't seen you in a long time.
I know. How's everything?
Good. Very good. And here's Paul. Hi, Paul. Hello. We can see you, but we can't hear you. You are muted, though.
Here I am.
There you are. All right. Yay.
Are you in
Okay.
Boston traffic, Paul?
Of course I am. What are you kidding?
I just got out of it.
Yeah, well, obviously we have a game tomorrow night, so that's what I've been doing for the last 24 hours and
Mhm.
actually probably 36 hours. And my wife, I'm not sure what her name is, but she hasn't seen me in a while. So
But
all,
that's
all,
good,
all
for the,
good, all good, all
good
good.
for the Celtics, right? Julianne
Yeah.
Paul works for the Celtics. I do remember that. So
Yes,
Paul,
that jumped right out at me.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting job there.
yeah. So Paul, are you still driving?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you gonna pull over? Or are we just
I will. No problem at all.
We're gonna wait for you to pull over? I'm just nervous.
Yep.
We're fairly prompt tonight. Our last interview committee meeting, we were a good 20 minutes late. Sorry about that. You had
That's
to get
okay.
on time interview committee.
Okay, I am now over. Good.
All right, good. Now we don't have to worry about hearing a crunch.
No, definitely not.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks for coming tonight. We usually have a few simple questions, especially when it's one applicant for one spot. And Julianne, do you want to get started?
Sure. So Paul, the first question we usually ask is because we see the application, the public doesn't see the application. What is it about this commission that interests you?
We can't hear you again. You're muted again.
I'm back.
There you are.
It has interested me quite a long time. Since I left being president of baseball, I really feel like my experience and interest in the community. I've been a resident since 2001. And my kids have been fortunate to have really great parks to play in and really a great community in general. What really interests me is being able to have input on, what our future plans are for parks. Whether it's the dog park. I worked very closely with Scott, our DPW director. We redid Memorial Field together when I was president. We used baseball funds primarily, and I also worked with Assabet on rehabbing the hut down on Memorial Field. So I always kind of had a vested interest, and I also took my kids to the water park down the street there quite a bit, and as they grew up. So I guess to say that I'm a Northborough, that's probably the right word to describe me. But I will tell you that I'm president of the Athletic Boosters. Now this is my first year at the high school. I'm on the complex committee I'm actually, I guess I'm on the, maybe Gary can call it the last 10% group, which is the landscape, architecture, where, the eye candy, where all of our money went that we just voted on for $8 million.
Yeah.
That interests me quite a bit. My profession, I run our customer service department at the Celtics. This is my 27th year. And my title is member experience and arena operations, which is not too far from Parks and Rec Commission, in my opinion, because your experience of using the park, you're making sure that those people, whether they're children or adults, are having a good time. And then the operational part is really, are we really optimizing the space, and are we upkeeping the park to its ability? And that's my job at the TD Garden, is making sure that 19,700 fans have a great experience every single night. I don't see that much different, to be honest with you, when someone walks into the park. and they take their grandchild or their, you know, to the park, or they run around the track in the morning. That's really no different, in my opinion. That's why we're here. We're here to make sure that we have a level of responsibility to uphold the taxpayers' dollars, to make sure that we do have adequate parks and we keep them in a quite a position where we don't have to go to the town and say that we need $10 million to refab it because someone ignored it. In my opinion, you never should have to refab it unless a law changes. If a law changes, like an ADA compliance law, that's different than not caring about the park. Not caring about the park is what I'm dealing with at the Plex. When you look at a tower of lights and the electrical outlets are on the ground, that's not caring, in my opinion. And that doesn't take too hard of a thing to walk around a park to understand what's safe and what's not. And I think it's a level of responsibility of this commission to uphold that, whether it's to the DPW director or it's the committee as whole, to the select board, to make sure they understand this is a safety issue and we need to fix it now. That's my 2 cents personally, but that's where the interest is coming from.
Okay, great. So I remember a few months ago, we had a lot of emails about the pickleball courts and how they're not open in the winter, or they weren't open, like they're closed for the winter and they take the nets down and everything, which I totally understand, but they were closed at a certain point. And then there were a lot of frustrated residents in December because we had a really warm, sunny December. So I'm just throwing this out there. Do you have any opinions on how that was handled? There's not really a right or wrong answer here. I just conversation.
Well, I think that there's a couple things that we're coming across on the Plex right now that I think are very similar.
Mhm.
So I think the comparison is a good one. So I'll give you an example. If we have a warm December, but we had a really cold November, and do you know what that does to the court if you don't take care of it properly? It cracks it.
Mhm.
And once you start, there's reasons why we close the fields, right? And that, to me, that's why we closed the pickleball, area, because you don't want to play on a surface and damage it. That would be like us playing basketball, the Celtics, with the ice creating condensation on top of the hardwood. You don't do that. So in my opinion, just because it's an 80-degree day out in December doesn't mean that we open the courts and play on them, because 3 days from now you could have a frost heave
Okay.
and,
All right.
and damage the court. And
Thanks.
so I think that's how I would answer the question, is I would say it depends on the weather and and the condition of the court.
Okay. That's great. Thanks. So Gary, would you like to chime in on Paul or on the commission in general, or both?
Sure, I'm happy to on both. I've been a member of the commission now for 3 years, the past year serving as chair. During my time on the commission, we've pushed forth several big initiatives for the town, one being the 2 that have been completed, the pickleball courts being one of them. The Parks and Rec Commission played a role in scoping that out and working with the DPW and the Recreation Commission on, sourcing it all out and kind of getting the project up and running. The same with the 135 playground. Paul mentioned, the little splash pad, renovating that and doing that. And then the recent approval of the dog park that was approved as well recently. And we're huge supporters of the Gonkplex. Myself, just from, I've been in town almost as long as Paul, a 23-year resident. My son played varsity football on that field. Funny thing is, my first interaction with Paul 10 plus years ago was when I was president of the Youth Football and Cheer Association, and Paul was president of baseball, and we both would come to the Parks and Rec Commission meetings, president meetings, and talk about status of the playgrounds and how the youth were participating. So, and in that time, I've gotten to know Paul pretty well. My son are friends. Paul's absolutely an upstanding individual. I've always been very impressed with his commitment. And I guess the best word I could use is intensity around youth sports, putting together the best, not just environment and community programs, but safety, fields, things like that. As he mentioned, he put a lot of time and work into really renovating those fields down on Memorial and things like that, and keeping them really as outstanding athletic fields for Northborough and Southborough, football, not football, sorry, baseball, softball, and so much. So I am 100% endorsement of Paul, and he would be an absolute phenomenal addition to the commission.
Okay, great. Well, I'd be happy to recommend him, and I get the feeling Julianne would too. So he won't,
Definitely.
wouldn't be official until next Monday when we have our next select board meeting. The whole board has to vote on it. And Julianne, did you have anything else you want to add?
Well, this is for either Gary or Paul. Is there anything in the pipeline coming from recreation that is new? I saw the summer programs, they're outstanding. And I'm wondering if there's anything that's new and exciting for you both.
I can tell you that I'm extremely excited about adding more pickleball courts and a basketball court at the high school as part of the Plex. Not only that, but giving the community back some really nice tennis courts at Algonquin. So I would just say that I'm not looking at the Plex complex as even though the school department controls that facility, I'm looking at that facility, and I said this in town meeting, is that's a community area. The amphitheater, the pickleball places to play, to get up and walk a track that actually you'll know that it's a quarter-mile track. Those kinds of things are the things that excite me for all of the citizens of Northborough. So I would say, for me, that's the exciting part, is we're continuing to add recreational space in the town and still maintain the beautiful fields that we have. And I think that's really important. I think the next big thing in my mind that really needs to be looked at is the middle school fields. I think we have to look at that. I will add one more thing, and I'm sorry to take up a bit of your time, but I feel like I have the good audience here. When Lincoln Street School was built, the baseball diamond behind Lincoln Street was an afterthought. It wasn't something that was really baked into the plans. It was only when Mike Hodge said, "Where did the baseball field go?" That was part of Lincoln Street that was designed. I think that's a real missed opportunity to have that field looked at. There are drainage problems on that field. Scott will tell you that. But I also want to look at what are our capital projects going to be in the next 2 to 5 years as a commission. And I hope, Gary, you share that same vision. Is I just don't want to look at what's there now. I want to look at, are we really doing the right thing? Like, should Lincoln Street have more pickleball facilities, because it doesn't work as a baseball diamond, right? Those to me are like missed opportunities. So if I'm fortunate enough to be voted onto this commission, I'm not coming into this commission thinking about in 3 years down that we can actually maybe go to town meeting or use CPA funds to get done. Because having a baseball diamond behind Lincoln Street is a complete waste of space. Because it doesn't work. But maybe it will work as a pickleball area or another recreational, area.
Well, let me just plant one seed in your head, and that's if the commission could figure out how to get some of the large companies in town to help pay for these things, that might be great. Because a field or a pickleball court isn't a huge expense, but they could put a big ad on there. A lot of big capital expenses.
Any additional money is always welcome.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
I will say from a current Parks and Rec, perspective, finalists and bringing the dog park I think is going to be a huge win for the community as a whole. It's funny you mentioned Melican, because Melican, there is discussion right now on updating the Melican and ripping and replacing the tennis courts and basketball courts there. And actually, as part of that renovation, adding pickleball courts to the Melican complex, as well as reworking some of the fields in the back. They've put the new lights in. They've done a regrading project in the back quarter of the fields. They've talked about installing some permanent goal posts and football posts and things like that, and mapping out real athletic fields for the high school, the middle school, and for more community use. I mean, at one point we were even talking about a potential cricket field. So there's a bunch of things that have been talked about, that, ideas that spurn through programs and such through the rec department, as the needs start to grow and the demands start to grow on some of these things. That's how the pickleball started.
That's awesome.
We're looking to expand and grow, not, for the entire community in all, sports and things of that nature. So
great. That's great news.
I will add, and I voiced this concern to the Plex committee, that this is my operations background with the Celtics, but you have to think about how to maintain when you add certain things to your armor. So, for example, when Greg mentioned about how much money it would cost to maintain the Plex at town meeting, I told him to be very careful about that number because there are a lot of different things that come up when you start to think about maintaining fields and also maintaining, you got to have the right people to know what they're doing. And I'm always going to be that voice that is going to be like, do we have the right person in house to take care of this? Because that's the first question that comes out of my mouth when we have to patch a suite because someone drew a person through the wall. Do we have a person that can fix this?
Yeah.
And so that would be the one caution with adding projects is understanding if we have that right person. And Mr. Gorman does a wonderful job organizing that for our town. However, he's not an expert in turf, right?
Mhm.
So that's those are the kinds of things that I think I can help the commission on.
Great.
Is to talk about, okay, we can do this, but you just can't throw 15 yards of infield mix on a baseball field and expect it to last for 10 years. That's not how you redo a baseball field. You have to get down, you have to actually get down and get rid of the subgrade first.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna cut you off here because we have a couple other interviews we've got to get to.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I
okay.
didn't know that.
I know I could tell you're very passionate about this subject, so you're all the more appropriate for the committee.
But before
My-
you leave, we should say thank you to both of you for all the work you've done with
Yeah, thanks to
keeping us
both.
in shape in town.
I know my son Peter has definitely benefited from Coach Madge's expertise in various things. So anyway, thank you both very much for your time, and we will we'll be voting as a board on Monday, the 22nd. And
Beautiful.
then you get a nice letter.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Drive safe.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You
All right.
too.
Bye.
So next we have Jen.
Hi,
Yeah.
yes, I was just gonna pop on. I see Jen. I've reached out to the Cultural Council Chair, Terry, you know her,
Yeah.
Jen. Then haven't heard back from her. She was scheduled to attend, but I'm wondering where you know enough about the Cultural Council, if you could.
Yeah. Julianne is a.
Yes, that's fine. And plus the Jen and Hannah have been attending meetings anyway, so they know the
Oh, okay.
rigorous schedule that Terry keeps.
Okay, I wonder if we should bring them both in together since there are two openings and if they're familiar.
That just crossed my mind. I mean, that's fine with me. And they've both been waiting because
Yeah.
we're a little chatty. So.
Okay, so Kristen, I'll let you let them in
Okay.
and I'll just be in the background. All right, thank you.
Yeah. And this can be more like a conversation than some sort of stressful interview, like the last one. Only now, instead of sports and fields, we're talking about arts and culture. We get another person in a car.
I am. Wait, I'm on now? Yeah. I think I'm on. Hi.
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 We brought you both in at the same time because Julianne said you're both been coming to meetings and there's 2 spots and 2 people. So this doesn't
Great.
need to be a stressful interview situation. It can just be a conversation. Okay. Nice to meet you both. And
Meet
Kristen.
you.
Julianne, do you want to start?
Yeah, so we usually start with why are you interested in this? But for Jen, so Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, you were on the Cultural Council in Upton?
I was 20 years ago. Mhm.
And at the time, did you do a cultural district?
We did not, no.
But you're kind of interested in that whole possibility?
I am. I think it would be great for our town, particularly since, we're doing the doors and the Culture Fest now, with Year 5. I think it would be fabulous to get a little more funding for the community and for this, ultimately for the children or the seniors or, where all that money goes. But I think that the town, I think it warrants it.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting that that you're bringing it up now, because we are, in the beginning stages of discussing downtown revitalization. And I've noticed in towns where they have that designation, it kind of perks your interest as you drive through, right?
Mhm, it does. And in fact, I was recently randomly driving through Weston, and they had I had stopped and took a photo, because amidst all, the city-ish buildings, they had this beautiful little artsy sort of small lot that is similar to the one that's vacant right now. And I'm like, oh, that would be a perfect idea, like a garden sort of, I don't know. So I was like, oh, I have to figure out how to make this happen. So I think being part of Cultural Council will kind of introduce me to the people that I need to meet, because I don't really know a lot of those important people in town, even though I've been here for 12 years. But I think it would be great to sort of find those people, partner with them, and make that vacant lot something pretty awesome.
And I just have one more. Is it your educational background or your work background that you had something artistic? You're getting your MBA.
I'm getting my MBA. Yeah.
But,
so I'm sort of I did fashion marketing.
Okay.
Up at UMass. So I do artsy sort of things, but I'm not an artist anywhere near the other people who are on the board. I'm more I don't know what I am, creative, but not.
You're the person behind the artwork.
Yeah. I'm like vice president. I like to be behind the scenes second. Somebody else can take the spotlight. I like to run around and do everything else.
Well, this is a very busy committee. I can attest to that, and because I attend maybe a fifth of the meetings, but you guys are always moving ahead with new ideas and bringing excitement to town. So we really appreciate it. So Hannah, you did major in, was it textile art or something, or?
I have my undergrad and my master's in textile design, concentration in print design. So pretty much computer graphics, computer designing, and I did have a work background in textiles. I worked for 5 years in a company called Berkshire Blanket, which is in Western Mass. And I was head of the fun and cuddly and cute department. So anything kid or bedding, I was a part of. And also I worked with the rather large customers that were very demanding and very meticulous in needing their demands being met. So I kind of, have the fun aspect, but I know, if things need to get, done a certain way, that I will definitely, follow that direction too.
Western Massachusetts has a lot of cultural stuff going on. They at least, when I go out as a tourist, it seems like they really embrace the arts and entertainment kind of thing. Would you agree? Or?
Yeah, I think that they have a lot more space and much smaller communities where they can make things happen faster than some of the other towns that are even, close to us, or especially, in the Boston area. So, it's always nice to see some of their, creative takes on things. And, I'd love to pull some of that stuff closer to home, AKA in town.
Kristen, I'll give it back to you. We've never asked, why these applicants are interested in applying for the committee. I know that you've been attending meetings and actually working, right? For how long? Couple of months or?
I've been there since February.
And Jen?
I think so. I think February or March. I don't
I
remember.
was gonna say, I think she was there a week or two after me. So we've had a lot of meetings, so.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm gonna jump in again, sorry. And especially, if people are watching this interview, if one of you could answer how the committee has to work with the Mass Cultural Council.
So we receive funding from them each year as part of the larger group from Mass Cultural Council. They send money out to all the towns and cities in the Commonwealth. And so then we receive applications from different people who are of interest who want to maybe perform at the school or maybe do something with the seniors or do something at the library. And then we as a group will then take the money and budget. I don't know the exact number. I think it's like around $4,000 or $5,000. I can't remember. And then we sort of say, okay, this person we're going to, and they may request, $1,000. And we say, let's allocate 600 to them, this to this person, and sort of outlay the money like that. But as a cultural district, we'll be receiving more money than what we're allocated now. So that's like a really big reason why, for me, I think it's important to become the cultural district. And I sort of went online and saw how Maynard has it, which was kind of a surprise to me. But it is a local community that's small like ours, but I think we can definitely mirror what they're doing. But it's really great. Makes a huge impact to, smaller performers, let's say, that maybe some money can come from a school parent PTO, and then some money comes from cultural council, and then they can afford to bring, a drum group or whatever to the schools, as an example.
Great. Yeah, I have a friend who's an artist in Maynard, and I know she's heavily involved in the thing they do there.
That would be great if I could maybe connect with you to get her information, because I did email them, but I didn't get a response, so I didn't want to hound anybody.
At least be able to tell you who's the right person to talk to if she doesn't have the information you're looking for. Yeah,
It would be great. Thank you.
sure. The personal connection always helps with when you're
It really does.
doing something like that.
My blanket email didn't work, so I would love that. Thank you.
Sure. And we just got a text from Terry saying that she has, for personal reasons, she wasn't able to be here tonight, but she endorses both of you. Not that that's a surprise if you've been going to meetings since February. But I'm really grateful to both of you for just jumping right in and not being, intimidated by the red tape end of things that is always part of a town. I appreciate you, getting to work already on helping the cultural council.
And the doors are fantastic.
I have to go see them. I haven't seen them yet. Can you believe
Oh,
it?
they're wonderful. I've already been a few times, and it's great to expand the show, and even my kids are very excited about seeing the artwork in town, which is, who we want to show that we can make the town, a little more special, a little more beautiful in a certain way. And then you can talk about, what a town means to you. So I like that, connection that I can bring personally to it.
Well, you definitely are. And I think the mural near the town common looks even more beautiful in the spring than it looked in the fall and winter. It just, it's just gorgeous. Well, thank you both for all your work. And does anybody want to put a plug in for June 10th?
I will gladly do so. June 10th, we have Culture Fest. It's a little bit of everything. We're having some bands, we are having some dance groups, and we are having local artists come and show their wares. We're having student work being shown. And of course, we are always, asking for donations. So we are having a bake sale, and yours truly over here, I'm a baker, so I will have quite a few items there with some other people around town, baking with love, and hopefully someone will be a little hungry. There will also be local restaurants involved, food trucks, so we can have a little bit of some culture and expand and show the town that, it's right here.
Great. What time is that? I realize it's an all day thing, but exactly what time so I can post about it. I saw a sign earlier today. I don't know if they have more signs to put up. I have a good spot for a sign in my yard.
I think it's 10 or 11. I don't quite remember.
Until what, like 3 or something?
Yeah.
Great. All
But
right.
you'll want to stay later.
Yeah. I think we lost Jen, but that's okay. I think we're all set.
Well, we
Thank-
appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
Well,
Yeah.
we appreciate your work.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
volunteering.
And you understand that, that the formal appointment will happen Monday at our selectmen meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Jen.
Bye.
Bye. We'll just tell Jen that. Oh, that's okay, Jen. You popped off for a second. We were just saying goodbye to Hannah.
Okay,
And saying that our formal vote will take place on Monday at our select board meeting.
okay, sounds
We'll-
great.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Thanks for volunteering.
Thank you. And I'll look forward to maybe an email or something. I should email you for that friend's name in Maynard.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
want to email me at my select board email address, then
Okay.
just remind me and then I'll have your email easy enough. That would be great.
Very much. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Wow, we have some really qualified candidates as
Yeah,
usual.
you know what I was thinking about the doors are the sort of the amalgamation of the two groups that we were talking about today, Parks and Rec.
Yeah, me too. And if you go to see the doors, there's one that is pickleball.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
That's cute. I might take Scouty over there later for a little walk. 'Cause
It's very fun.
yeah,
it's-
it's a beautiful night for it.
So would
Okay.
you like a motion?
Yes, please.
I move that the interview subcommittee vote to recommend Paul Cacciatore for appointment to the Parks and Rec Commission at the May 22nd, 2023 Select Board meeting.
Second. Roll call vote, Julianne,
Aye.
and I, Kristen, vote aye. So Paul is recommended.
Okay, and I also move that the interview subcommittee vote to recommend Jennifer Tallman for appointment to the Northborough Cultural Council at the May 22nd, 2023 Select Board meeting.
Second. And vote, Julianne,
Aye.
I, Kristen, vote aye. So Jen is recommended. And then Hannah.
And I move that the interview subcommittee vote to recommend Hannah Chen for appointment to the Northborough Cultural Council at the May 22nd, 2023 Select Board meeting.
Second. Julianne,
Aye.
aye, and I, Kristen, vote aye. So Hannah is officially also recommended. So we can vote on those at our next meeting. That was very pleasant and nice
It's-
conversation.
Yes, and you even made a connection, so.
I mean, that was so funny because I was like, I'm thinking about going to the park to see the art that the cultural council put in the park.
But get that friend of yours to Jen.
Yeah, I will. Well, that's why I asked her to email me. So
Yeah.
then hopefully, yeah, I know we have her email, but still, that would be the easiest.
And as usual, Diane, thank you so much.
You're
Yeah,
very
thanks.
welcome. Very welcome.
And
Just a
I-
motion to adjourn.
Yes. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Julianne
aye.
and I, Kristen, vote aye. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Great, we'll see
Bye-bye.
you